welcome to another video. We're back playing Mermail Atlanteans with Small World, and I made a couple changes to this deck to improve it consistency-wise. We're going to negate this pot. Opponent has Crossout Designate. Gonna negate our Ash Blossom. Usually when you see Pot of Duality, which stops you from special summoning, it means birds. Let's see what opponent reveals here. Crossout, Crossout, and a bird. Opponent add another Crossout to hand. Opponent summoning a barrier statue. That is going to be quite hard for us to get rid of. Barrier statue locks us into wind monsters. Luckily, we get to show off the power of Small World, turning what otherwise would be a clunky, unwinnable hand into something amazing. We got to get rid of this barrier statue before we can do anything. So let's reveal, hold on a second, banish this useless Lapis Dragon from our hand, reveal a Teus as the bridge, and add a Atlantean Dragoons to hand. Showing off the power of Small World, basically transform any card into anything. Let's attack over this barrier statue. Guessing this set card is the Crossout. Main phase 2, now we can special summon. We're going to special summon the Teus here, and go into everyone's favorite, the DPE. Adding Abyss Pike to hand is actually pretty good, because next turn it means we can use this Small World, second copy of Small World, to transform Abyss Pike into anything. Turn him into a Prince, turn him into a Deep Sea Diva. Opponent is, yeah, they don't usually play. I felt pretty safe doing this. Opponent is playing Flounderies. They don't usually play the spell, the DPE, because they get locked into normal summoning, so it's not useful to have. So opponent banished one of their birds. Interestingly, using Crossout to banish a bird actually still lets them get the bird back to hand. So I can understand why you'd play Crossout at 3 in this deck. Makes sense. Opponent's banishing our Pot of Greed from the graveyard with their bird. No Pot of Greed for us. Gonna do the bird combo here. Now we can pop at any time, but it doesn't really make sense to pop these small birds. Their effect goes on the stack, you pop them, they just do the normal summon anyway. So we're just gonna let this happen. Opponent summoning the penguin. Penguin gonna search for a spell or a trap. Bird gonna return itself to hand. Just gonna let this happen. We summon in defense mode so that the Flounderies and M-Pen can't negate us. Opponent summoning the Mega Monarch. Gonna target a card on the field and in the graveyard. Put the card in the graveyard on top of our deck. Put the card on the field into our hand. So now is our chance. We gotta pop. Pop that Monarch. Put our DPE nice and safely in the graveyard. The spell or trap opponent added to their hand was a Flounderies and the Dreaming Town. This can only be activated during the main phase, so if we toggle on, you can actually use DPE in the standby phase, pop this, they won't get a chance to activate. We drew the useless Dasher. Now, get popping. Now they won't able to activate that trap. Now, I thought about using Small World on the Dasher, but I actually don't know what Dasher bridges into. Probably should check that out. Maybe I'll do it at the end of the video. Go see what we could bridge into as Dasher, but I'm just going to play it safe, use the Small World on the Abyss Pike, get our Deep Sea Diva using a Gameciel as the bridge, and normal summon the Diva. And now we can Diva combo, go into the Hulk of Fibrax, or whatever else we want, and opponent is done. Got through the Flounderies. A connection failed. Opponent is a coward. Alright, let's go on to the next game. Decklist will be at the end of the video. If you like the channel, please consider subscribing. We'll have more Mermail content coming up, although I am going to take a brief vacation. So if you're wondering where I am, don't worry. Opponent, playing Trap Tricks, going to add a trap to hand. Let's Ash Blossom, negate the search for a trap. That goes through. Opponent, linking off into a Trap Trick Sarah, and setting one back row, probably a trap. Back to our turn here. We're gonna look at our hand. Now, we only really have one line. It's Summon Prince. Hope that this trap cannot deal with Prince. It's a Trap Trick. Lets him put any trap on the field. Gravedigger's Trap Hole. Interesting, Gravedigger's Trap Hole will negate graveyard effects. Opponent gonna search to special summon a monster. We're gonna use our second Ash Blossom to stop that. Luckily, we get to activate our Prince. Send a Dragoons to graveyard. Opponent gonna Ash, so we don't get to add anything to hand. That's not the end of the world. That is okay. And opponent gonna use their... There we go. Use their Gravedigger's Trap Hole to negate the Dragoon's affecting graveyard. Well, alright, we got nothing except the Prince, but luckily Prince and the Traptic Sarah are same power, so let's crash. Hope that our opponent can't get set up, and try again next turn. Opponent got 3 cards. They got the Dionia. Special summoning a Murillo from the graveyard. Attacking. I thought they were going to go into a rank 4XC, but they're going into Traptrix Kularia. And that's going to let him special summon the Dinoia back to the field and set that Gravedigger's Trap Hole to negate our graveyard effects again. We draw Deep Sea Diva. That's pretty sweet. What we're going to do here is get the Heavy Infantry. Heavy Infantry going to give us another normal summon, get the Prince on field. Now we can activate Dragoons. Add Dragoons to hand. Dragoons going to activate in graveyard. Going to get negated a second time. Now we have a couple options here. The best option probably is just go into Hulk Fibrex combo, but we could also make DPE. We could also, using, where is it? I'll show you the full deck at the end of the video, but we could go into Tatsunoko using the Diva and the Prince, and then use one of the monsters in our hand. We could make a level 8 synchro that way, which could be the Adamantipator, negate a trap effect. That is a possibility. Could also use the Prince on field as well as a card in hand to make a level 9, but the only level 9 we have is Crocodile, and I don't think Crocodile is really ideal in this scenario, so let that get negated. I think we're just going to go for the Hulk of Fibrex here, usually the correct choice. Hulk of Fibrex going to get Despot. Now we cleaned up the extra deck by taking out the Cupid Pitch. Also cleans up the main deck a little bit. Does make this combo worse, but the trade-off is your deck's going to be more consistent. And gives you more options to go into the extra deck. Let's make a Baron here. Get rid of our opponent's entire field. Pop that back row. Attack through his monsters. We still got Prince. We got Baron's negate. See what opponent can do here. They're going to have 3 cards. Opponent activating the Lightning Storm. We're going to negate. Kind of forced our hand here. Don't want all our monsters wiped. And opponent is going to concede. Alright. No follow-up play. Very nice. Let's do one more game with the Mermails. Alright, we got Diva and Prince in a scenario like this. Usually good to summon the Prince first. Diva gets Ash Blossomed, you're in a lot of trouble. Prince gets Ash Blossomed, and you're doing fine. Doesn't even matter. Effect of the Dragoon's going to activate in graveyard. Get us our Lapis Dragon. Special summon the Lapis Dragon. And now we can Hulk of Fibrex combo. Hulk of Fibrex. Get the Despot. Get the Aurodon. Get back the Despot from the graveyard. An opponent has seen it before and they are done. Well, hopefully Konami knows what goes on when people summon a Aurodon and they ban a piece of this combo because, you know, it's a little too strong. I'd say a little too strong. All right, let's go on to the deck list. All right, here is the current version of the deck list. Now, as I said earlier in the video, I have cleaned it up a little bit, removing the combo that involves Cupid Pitch, which means there are also some other cards we remove from the extra deck and some cards we remove from the main deck, that combo with that. So cleaning that up made the deck a lot more streamlined. Small World really is amazing. I'm pretty sure you can use a search for anything. Let's just quickly pan through the whole deck list, and then I'll pull up the calculator. We can see what we could search for by banishing the Dasher. Now, you don't normally want to banish Dasher, but you know, if it's the last turn of the game, then hey, maybe it'd be worth it. Could be worth it. In the extra deck, we were splashing the Bahamut, but didn't get an opportunity to summon it. And as far as our monsters go, I don't think this is the best one. I think you probably want to go with some of the other ones. We can use Tatsunoko to make the Bahamut, but is that the right move? Probably not most of the time. Also, could be easier to do if you have a second copy of Megalo. Alright, Now that I've shown you the deck, let's check out the calculator, see what we could get using a dasher with Small World. Alright, so using the Small World calculator, you can import a deck list. So I imported my deck list here, and it tells you what you can get if you reveal a dasher in your hand. So dasher has two targets, Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion and Psyframe Driver, which we could turn the O-Lion into a Deep Sea Diva, a Heavy Infantry, a Max C, Psyframe Gear Gamma, or a Despot. And the Psyframe Driver, if we banish from the deck, we could turn into a Dragoons or a Neptubus the Atlantean Prince. So pretty happy I went with the other card in hand in that game. If you want to check out this calculator, I'll provide a link in the comments. We got a whole list here, a whole breakdown for every card in the deck you can reveal and what targets you can get. Definitely something handy to have access to if you're in the middle of a game, but it is a lot of information, so definitely can be a bit clunky. Got to be quick. Helps to know what your bridges are for the common cards you're going to reveal. Alright, hope you enjoyed this gameplay. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Have a good night.